We had a very, very tense horse. Like Tristan would say, a vertical horse. She was very vertical all the time. Actually, I want to see exactly where the tension starts.
That I can tell you in the first 3 seconds. So now when she's in the position of rest and we have a bit more of a horizontal horse, not a vertical one, and step through your body and breathe. So when something approaches your body, what's going to be the reaction? The hell do I do here? Show me something, quick, I'm panicking. The horse is super sweet, really wants to do the right thing, but it's completely
So her name is Jada and her age is 4 now. She's 4 years of age now. We bought her last September after she'd been brought in for the mare test, and she'd done really well at the mare test. So afterwards we bought her and we thought we were going to give her a brilliant start. So we brought her to someone who specialized in breaking in horses and training her on for an EBOP test. And well, the short story is that she kept on being very tense and attention only built and built. So when we got her back in January this year, we had a very, very tense horse. So we took her to that place, and I think from the first ride she said, well, there's quite a bit of tension, but I think it's gonna work out. 4 months in that same place, training for the EBOP. And she said, every time I do get through it with the tension, and we said, well, she's okay to come home. If it's not okay, if it's going too fast. No, I think we're going to get it. And then when we went to pick her up after 4 months, she said, well, maybe you should not ride her now immediately, because the last 2 weeks she started to kick.
She went there to be saddle broken, or
saddle broken and trained for the EBOP.
Okay,
both.
yeah.
And she thought about 4 months it would do the trick. And so actually when we got her home in January, she could not do an EBOP and she could not be ridden at all. So we tried to ride, then I did some Tristan stuff, like, I tried. And after about 8 weeks, I had another rider on it, who saddle breaks a lot, and there's a lot of saddle breaking in our area.
Yeah.
And it was just resistance all over the place, like rearing up and bucking and, her head all over the place.
Yeah.
And we had her for took her to another vet. I think she's been 3 or 4 times now, physiotherapy, etc. And they all say basically she's fine. She could be tense, but of course, hey.
Yeah, but the physical signs are good. She doesn't have...
There's not like
reasons for...
something in the spine that's not right. The photographs, everything was okay. That was September, of course.
Yeah.
So I think something went wrong in those first 4 months. Maybe she's, had pain underneath the saddle or while she was being ridden. I don't know, but we can do a lot with her all the time. We try new stuff. When we bought her, the first goal for her purpose was that she's going to be a good breeding mare. My husband likes to breed, and we're just starting, but anyway, and she's got really good papers. So that was goal 1. But I really love dressage. I mean love. I don't say I'm very good at it, but boy, I try to be good at it. And so that's definitely our hope for her, that she'll be a very good, sensitive, but also willing dressage horse.
In your mind, what is it that you want to achieve from coming here today? When you were driving here, what were you thinking? What were you hoping?
Actually, I want to see exactly where the tension starts. That might be indicative.
Yeah.
And
that I can tell you in the first 3 seconds.
Okay.
So, but the idea is that you can have today an idea that there is hope.
Exactly, that there's hope that we can actually ride her in the end, without her rearing, of course. I really want to do this mare who's very sweet and sensitive, but I think she's always been very honest with me also. And that's a really deep wish. I want to do her justice. And if we're going to ride together, it has to be good for her and for me.
But then we just start, and then I just feel how she is. Today is really that, an assessment. And then you have the decision at the end, whether there's hope or not, or at least an idea of where you can go from here.
Yeah.
So I changed the halter. We can put it over in the beginning, and then we can, when she's more relaxed, we can take the other one off. We can actually probably do that from here now.
Actually, usually at home when we do groundwork, she's quite cool and willing to learn. And then we come with either a saddle or a lunging thing, and then she goes like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, there's the nightmare coming back. So the basic story that comes with our little sweet black mare Jada is one that's very common, of course. You have a horse that is naturally very sensitive. Her natural instincts are very high, and through no fault of her own, and of course no fault of the people that have handled her so far, in that, of course, nobody sets out to do the wrong thing, and it's then just quite often a combination of a horse's natural disposition as being very high and sensitive and sort of susceptible then to feeling from their body when they have tension. And unless those horses really learn the steps that they need to know of how to control themselves, that she has really good awareness over her body and how to control those moments where she goes into tension, that pattern will just continue on through the horse's life. So I just start in the beginning by gaining a little bit of worth. So before I start to work with them, they have to have a little bit of an understanding first about my space, where my space is, and of course where hers is, and that I'm going to relieve her of all these other jobs of wondering why she's here, what do I have to do, what are they going to ask of me, are they going to try to ride me, am I going to be put in situations where I'm going to be insecure. And then I relieve her of all those things by just getting her to think of one thing, and that's really to measure the distance between me and her. So I'm just really aware of where my space is, and then I give her some sound advice about just where not to be. So I never tell her where to be, I just tell her where not to be, so that from the beginning she feels from me immediately that I'm going to make her feel comfortable. And when she understands a little bit about the space, so the technique when I'm asking her here is just simply that I'm not aiming any pressure at her, just at the space where she shouldn't be. And then from there she finds the position of rest, and then of course I take the pressure off and tell her, oh yeah, this is a really good place. And she says, oh, yeah, shit, I can feel it. I've taken myself out of that bad situation and put myself in a more comfortable situation, and oh, I now have a little bit of control of myself.
I recognize it. I do I'm looking at your training, so I recognize it. So
it's good.
Keep going, but
yeah, good.
There's a little bit of base there.
Yeah. So, and then when she has that little bit of understanding, we start to move it. So we can start to move around, and she also is able to keep that space. So here again, I'm just letting her know when she's in the wrong place. When she finds the position of rest, my body language is low. Then I'm really telling her this is not a good place to be. You have to be smart about where you're going to put yourself. And this first lesson in the beginning is really teaching her that concept of try to stay conscious and really clear of mind so you can make good decisions about where you put yourself. So then I check the distance, faster, slower, faster. Check the distance, and I always go with as little aid as possible. First the body language, and then the voice, and then the practical example of can you feel that there's energy in that place and you should put yourself somewhere else. So now when she's in the position of rest and we have a bit more of a horizontal hearse, not a vertical one, and she's let go of the, oh, what should I do, what am I doing here, some of those questions in her mind have gone away, then I can begin to start to feel in her body how she is, even though she had found the position of rest and started to lower her body language and be able to rest and let go of a lot of the things that were racing around in her mind of why she was here in this new place, the undertone and the normal pattern that she's in her body of coming into tension all the time, you could really feel in the skin and in the muscles. So I began to then bring her attention to those, and by doing that, the horse is able to feel and become aware of which part of the body is really tense. You're then physically able to take the muscle further into contraction, which automatically, anatomically makes the muscle then begin to let go. And as the muscle lets go and I release the pressure, she feels her own body start to find rest and start to release. And so we get her then into the state that she needs to be in to be able to start to make the right movements and the right patterns in her body. And then we just start to get a little bit control of the body. So we start to be able to move the feet and see what kind of direction she goes in, how much control she has, where the blockages are, where the tension is. So I stay as close to the body as possible. And then I just want to shape the step. So we're reprogramming the way she moves through her body. And so the way she takes the step will lead her into the relaxation. So if you imagine at the moment, when we ask her to move sideways, she does this. You know, and we're saying, no, be relaxed here and relax here and don't hold here and step through your body and breathe and then find the stability. And I want to feel this separation in the ribs so that she doesn't get a short step. There, she gets a longer one. There. Good. As soon as she takes the step where she gets a little bit longer, gets a little bit more flexibility, that we try to get some separation in the ribs, that we get this flexibility in her body, left and right, and then both sides together this way. So it's of course in the end that when you ride, she doesn't have a reaction to the leg. She understands the meaning of it, but also that she has a good pattern and a way of moving in her body that makes her feel comfortable and gives her stability. So I just wait till this slows down. Nice thing is she's relatively even on both sides, meaning she's terrible on both sides equally. So then it keeps the training fairly even. And so then again, moving the front legs. So of course when we move the front leg, she wants to step forward all the time. But what we want to be able to teach her is to control the right front with the right rein, and that the left front is going behind. So now it's not moving at all, or it's going forward. And we want that the natural balance takes her there. And I do everything in the beginning quite slow because I just want that she's taking notice. She doesn't take a step and miss what's just happened. There. Across. Behind, across, behind, across. Good. And so at a point where I feel that she's really taking ownership of this new feeling in her body, I then just move on to something else. It's not important that she does the steps perfectly. What's important is she has a feeling of what it might be about. And then we leave it. So it's like planting a seed. When we leave, we give it some water, and we hope when we come back it's grown a little bit. And really building these basic movements through her body so that when we come to get on again, all this package is installed. You have all your controls, your forward, back, your left and right. The horse is in balance, in control of itself. It understands the meaning of the aids, forward, back, left and right. And so that you don't have the confusion and then all the symptoms of tension through not knowing what to do and not knowing how to control itself. So this is going to be the basic pattern, and so we'd also been through a couple of tools. So then we're just testing and feeling her reactions and responses to different pressures. And the first one, of course, is approach. So when something approaches your body, what's going to be the reaction? Do you have good self-management? What is it in the toolbox? How much knowledge is in the toolbox of what you should do when something approaches you, or you have to approach something? So for her, it doesn't matter if she is still and the thing is approaching her, or the thing is still and she has to approach it. The only thing that worries her is the distance between her and the thing gets smaller, and so the danger increases. So again, we teach her really about her body, about the good decision making, and there's certain things she can choose to do in her body that keep her in control. She has to find the position of control. And of course, 1 + 1 in the beginning is 10, 100, 200. Good. And then the moment she starts to find the first step in this process of self-management, find the position of control. Good. Then the pressure goes off. And of course, it's just also a direct link from what she learnt from the shape in her body. That brought her into the relaxation. She's then looking to bring herself into that same feeling. She uses that concept then with everything. So whether that be a rider getting on, a saddle going on, a bag on the end of a stick touching her, it doesn't really matter what the thing is, it's just her knowledge of what to do with herself when she's presented with that kind of pressure. So the nice thing is actually at this stage all we have to do is give her the knowledge of what to do in all the situations, and I think when she really understands it, then she's like a real sweetie pie to do everything with. Because I think from nature she really wants to do the right thing, she's just not sure what it is and has not yet been taught. She has a lot of feeling in her body. So in that way, when she doesn't feel good, it's not going to look good, and it's not going to feel good also for you. So there again, it's a good place to quit. So just that starting point. And it's not that we look to wave a magic wand and get everything fixed right away. It's giving her a good rehabilitation, a restart, that she trusts the process and all the new ways of accepting and receiving knowledge. So you get the surprise element in the start, but then that leads you into the unconscious reaction, which she normally has automatically programmed. But then she goes into the turn, which she's already learnt. So keeping an idea of where I am, because I'm now the good mentor that can give her the answers. She doesn't look for the answers somewhere else. She's really looking at me and going, "What the hell do I do here? Show me something, quick, I'm panicking." And then she goes into the turn, which goes, oh yeah, I'm getting control. I can feel it in my body. Oh yeah, I've got to be relaxed. And then she naturally leads herself into the position of control again. And it's not important how many times I start with the clappers, but the whole process of her feeling the pressure and going through the steps to get to here. Oh, good girl. She'd taken in a lot of different feelings in her body, and she'd already started to really change the the physical state, and then she was making really quick connections with her mental state. So because of the change and because she feels so much from her body, she's really in contact with the feelings from her body, it was really draining. So it didn't take long before we sort of had the feeling, okay, we need to stop here, because anything we continue to do after that is only going to be an exercise that doesn't really sink in. We send her away with you now that you can bring her back on a short term. So like within a day or two. And then I can go through the things with her that it sort of seals it. And then when I show you the exercises, then we have written a bit of software there, and I'm still working on it now. And the next time I put a bit more coding in, but then I press save and I say, well, now it's operational here. Now try to get the feel for this, practice this, use it, that it starts to then develop. So the process is really fragile, but if it's in the right steps, then it can go really fast with a horse like this. So on a lesson basis, basically when the horse comes for the assessment, one is their hope, absolutely. The horse is super sweet, really wants to do the right thing, but it's completely fucked up by human error. Through no fault of any human, it's just lack of knowledge and a certain disposition from the horse and a certain level of sensitivity that required a certain number of steps, which he didn't get. And that's the simple fact of it. We just let her have a little sleep in the box now, because you can see now what I was talking about. Yeah. She's felt physically the change. Oh, this is really something heavy, like, oh, Jesus, like this is something new. Why didn't someone tell me this before?
I tried, baby. I really tried. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just the first time, that when we came here, for the first time she didn't want to load on a trailer. Mm-hmm. You probably heard from Doreen, and that was why we were late also. So should have put her now, try to put her on the trailer.
No, we put her in the box. Yeah.
Okay.
We can relax, have a cool drink in the sun. She has to have a drink if she wants, relax if she wants. But she needs to stay in this state. So of course the plan was, through the work, we always try to find out what the solution's going to be. We sort of do an assessment, we work out where the horse is at, and then we decide, is this a horse that needs to be in training, to come in boot camp and have some real regular sessions, short sessions, 3-4 times a day, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, or is it a horse that sort of is able to make enough changes and is able to take ownership enough of the things that they need to learn in the body that the owner's able to come backwards and forwards and sort of work with the horse on a lesson basis. The mare had really made such a turnaround and really stayed in that new, proven, relaxed state. The decision at that moment was that the horse was then able to go home and come back a few days later, and then together the owner and the horse would then go through the exercises. But of course then we had the trailer loading problem that we didn't know was there.